over here. Raise your hand, Inventathon. Okay. So she's in charge of making sure that I do right by you all, correct? Because time is, your time here, their time here is important. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about me. Do you want to know about me? Okay, thank you. You have to understand, Robbie, I have an 18-year-old son, okay? So I know what I'm dealing with, okay? I really do. All right, so I'm a fourth-generation Houstonian, which means I came here, my family came to Galveston in 1898, and then from 1898 and in 1900, my great-grandfather moved from Galveston to Houston. You guys don't count. Do you know what happened in Galveston in 1900? Yes, sir. How bad was it? Right? So we would say it was a hurricane category 5, right? 30,000 people, right? I mean, it wiped out Galveston. Luckily, my family came to Houston in January and the hurricane hit a couple of months later, okay? Why is that relevant for what we're talking about today and what I'm gonna show you a couple of things. Why is that relevant? It is because hurricanes are gonna keep on happening. Flooding is gonna keep on happening. Water will always fall from the sky, or we will run out of water, or we will have droughts, or all kinds. Water is always around, right? So historically, what happened in Houston a year ago is something that's continued to happen along the Gulf Coast, but also around the world, okay? What we wanted to do is engage youth and students, high school, community college, four-year institutions, all right, students, in this effort to be the first water resiliency initiative for youth and students. It's been organized so far since the hurricane. Let me try that one more time. Y'all are kind of like the pilot group. No one's ever done this, okay, around water and water resiliency. So I want to spend some time with you, and I want you to either raise your hand or give me a really snarky look like my son does when I don't make any sense, okay? So I want you to practice, okay? Give me your most snarky look kind of going. You, don't look around, you. Give me like, I have no clue what you're saying. Okay, that's good, okay? So if I'm not making sense, okay, raise your hand, ask a question, all right? So let me point out something as well. Some folks are going to kind of come in and out over the next 2 days, and we'll get a chance to introduce them. Carollo Engineers, if you take a look at this, Carollo Engineers is the largest engineering firm that specializes in water. They're a national engineering firm. They have a big presence in Houston, big presence in Texas. They are our co-sponsors. That's the reason why you're here. You'll get lunch, you'll get dinner, you'll get sodas, you get use of the facilities. We'll get a chance to introduce them over the next 2 days. But I want you to look at, when you have a chance, Carollo Engineer, because this is also a career path, okay? This is a way for you to see what you're doing today, how it connects to a job, okay? Now, I want to point out something, okay? How many ladies are here? Raise your hands, okay? All right? Why I'm asking you to do that is engineering is not a guy's job. As a matter of fact, some of the most innovative, out-of-the-box thinkers now in water and water innovation are coming from, yes ma'am, right? Okay, kind of. Raise a hand, okay, all right. So engineering is becoming much more attuned to a whole new generation of youth and students who are not just people, frankly, who look like me. Fat, bald, and old, okay? I mean, I want to be honest about this, okay? So what you're doing today is an opportunity to start thinking about your career path as well. And you'll hear from Carollo over the next 2 days, okay? So let's get into it, all right? Here's a few things that you may or may not know about Texas and water, okay? You know that we're one of the biggest states in the United States, but we are also one of the biggest economies, and by physical size, we're one of the largest land masses in North America, right? But we're also a $9 billion water technology marketplace, and we have public and private activities going on in water. So when you think of water, and when you think of where you get your water, what comes to mind? Anybody? Where's your water come from? Okay, where else? The Gulf, okay. Where else? Okay, got it? Anywhere else? Okay, let me tell you why this group, Robbie, is really, really smart. Because I could ask adults this question, and you know what they would say? It comes from the city of Houston. Or it comes from Harris County. Or it comes from some government organization. Which is partly true, but all they do is treat it, deliver it, right? But you're going to find as we talk that the individuals who make decisions about the technologies and the ideas that you're going to work on are typically cities and counties and states, but there's also a whole lot of businesses, all right? Name one big business in the city of Houston when you think about water. Anybody? Say it. Nah. Okay, come on. Think of a company. Think of a business. Yes, sir. Okay. Well, okay. We know which team's going to be number 4. Okay. All right. All right. Yes, sir. Yep. That'd be one. Somebody said Coca-Cola. That was, yeah, Coca-Cola. Okay. All right. What else? Yes, sir. Okay. That's number 2. Now, I'm glad you guys are in that table over there. I'm a little worried about y'all. Okay. All right. Now, you're not at this age, but Anheuser-Busch has one of their largest breweries in Houston, right? They use a lot of water. Okay. Who else uses water? ExxonMobil, Shell, okay, right? Big employers, all right, who have all kinds of water issues that we'll talk about, all right? But I wanted you to get an idea that this is a significant market for entrepreneurs and innovators, but it's also a phenomenal career path for you to look at, whether it's engineering or not, okay? Now, all right, here's some things that ought to scare you. Okay, so I gave you this opportunity, right? It's big market, $9 billion. There's people who invest in entrepreneurs and innovators, which I'll talk about in a little bit, all right? But here's something that should scare you, okay? It's going to continue to get warmer. This is not about climate change. It's not about whose fault it is. I'm not interested in politics about it. All I want you to know is it's going to continue to get warmer. And when it continues to get warmer, what happens? Hurricanes, but what else? Go ahead. Sit right here. Water evaporates and becomes what? Droughts, right? All right. So I'm not sure how many of you know that 1/3, almost 50% of the state right now is back into a terrible drought. All right. So if you live in the west part of the state of Texas, you're in the middle of stage 3 drought. All right. That is a water crisis. Question or just stretching? Okay. All right. Now, here's some other parts for you to think about because I'm trying to give you some ideas about markets and needs and why what you're going to work on is important, okay? So let's talk about the different types of companies and industries that we have in Texas. I gave you a couple of them, but throw out another one. Okay, so I talked about breweries, talked about Coca-Cola. What else do we make in Texas? Oil and gas, right? A lot of oil and gas. So there's a lot of production, and that uses lots of water. Yes, sir, speak real loud because I'm real deaf. Yep. Yep. And so we'll talk about how energy and water are connected to each other, right? All right. We make a lot of food in Texas, lots and lots of food in Texas. We make cars. We make airplanes, all right? Electricity, which also you have to have a lot of water to make electricity, and you got to use sometimes a lot of electricity to make water, okay? Anything else? Yes, ma'am? Steel, iron, sheet of metal, any kind of metal, right? That uses water, all right? Now, I know that y'all think, like my son, is that y'all think that milk and hamburger meat comes from the grocery store, but we grow a lot of cattle still in Texas, and right now, oddly enough, we are one of the fastest growing states in the United States for dairy, which I didn't realize, all right? So all of this is to tell you that we have all of these different types of industries, okay? But let me throw one other, all right? Anybody been to Schlitterbahn? Okay, all right, well, that was a bad, all right. Schlitterbahn, swimming pool, splash town, whatever it is, right? So we also have a lot of recreation that's dependent upon water, okay? Now let me just be blunt. If you went to Splash Town or Schlitterbahn, or has anybody been like over in Wimberley or somewhere like on tubing on the rivers and all that type of stuff? Anybody done that? Okay. If the water wasn't really clean, I don't think you would go, right? Okay? So think about that. There are also a lot of other industries that we also happen to have in Texas. We have a lot of hotels, a lot of resorts. Am I making sense? Am I kind of giving you an idea that this is a big, big industry? Okay? All right. So, sorry. Okay. So I asked you a question. Where does water come from? Right? You all said aquifers, Gulf of Mexico, where else? Speak up. Earth, you pull it out, right? You drill for it and you bring it up. Where else? Rivers. Rainwater. Okay. Yes, sir? Mountains. Water. Snow melt, right? Snow coming, that melts, eventually becomes water. Oceans. Okay, all right, so here's the issue. You see what I got behind me on this screen? Okay? So on the left-hand side is a manhole cover, all right? And that is typically a public water system. And I was joking about it, but public water systems, and let me throw one other idea, manhole covers, all right, are actually becoming cool. All right, Mr. Seline, you just lost me, okay? Manhole covers are becoming smart. They're making manhole covers to be able to tell people how much water is flowing on the street or how much water is flowing in the pipes or even what is the quality of the water, all right? Why is that important? When we had the floods, why is that important? Chemical spill. You know what's in you want to know what the quality is of the water in real time or as close to real time, right? And you also want to know how much water is moving so that you can do what? If I know how much water is moving here, what do I get a chance to tell people that are over there? Right? So when you go over a manhole cover like this is kind of like you take it for granted. This is now becoming where there are a lot of technologies and a lot of investments going on. You can look at a company called Smart Cover, all right, and get an idea from what some of the work that they're doing. All right, what's on? Somebody raise their hand. Now, if you're going to say Ozarka again, I'm throwing you out in the corner. Yes, sir. Correct, because that way you have the opportunity to maybe use water in a way that you may not have to wait for it to be completely treated, right? Okay, didn't have to go to some plant. All right, now speaking of Ozarka, okay, why do you think I put this picture up of this Dannon water? Because most people get water from a bottle, right? And by the way, Ravi, I did something today that I don't, and I promised I wouldn't do, but I did it anyway so people could have water, okay? I don't know if you know, this is the most expensive water in the United States. This is the most expensive water, okay? If you figure out how much water you pay in a bottle and how much water you drink in a bottle, it's a convenience, but it's the most expensive water in the, all right? So now what folks are doing is trying to figure out how you don't have to have bottled water sold. You now can go to, I don't know, Ravi, if they have them here, but some of y'all have seen it. You may have it at your schools where you can take your own water bottle and it's filtered water, right? So now the idea of having bottled water, all right, is expensive. But the other reason why I put it here is what typically happens when we have a water crisis? Who shows up? And what do they bring with them? All right? So during the most recent Harvey floods, who were the two biggest sources of bottled water? HEB and Anheuser-Busch delivered more water than the government delivered at all. But they were in bottles and they were in cans, all right? So what happens with all those bottles and cans after I've drank them? They become trash, right? So one of the reasons why I wanted you to see this is there is a real urgent interest at the federal government level, at the local government level, to find ways to clean up and generate drinkable water in place where you are versus having to have all these bottles. Am I making some sense? All right, so there's, and you'll see, these are things I want y'all to think about as part of your ideas, okay? I'm gonna keep on going, sorry. Okay, now, these are a lot of different things that you'll hear about water, okay, and water management, okay? One, water, to use the idea that water, there's clean water sometimes and you can reuse that water, okay? When you water your lawn, what happens with some of the water? It runs off, okay? And it goes down the drain and it's gone. So there's an interest now of capturing rainwater, capturing and reusing water, okay? There's a whole set of things that are going on. And in the city of Houston, 2 weeks ago, the Rockefeller Foundation, the big Rockefeller Foundation, along with Shell USA, the mayor and a number of folks decided that Houston was going to become one of the 100 resilient cities in the world. And part of that resilience is the ability to reuse water, manage water, do something differently with water, but also to make yourself a little bit more protected from storms and floods, okay? So there's an idea that keeps on coming up is that we don't recycle or reuse water a lot, or we don't manage water better. And one way to manage water better is, and I'll talk about this in a second, is this, right? Your phone and apps, all right? Now, sorry, I keep on clicking the wrong one here, Robbie. Okay, I want to play 2 clips, and I want to explain as we try to get these pulled up. Ryan Beltran was supposed to be here. Ravi, you don't know that. That was going to be a surprise. Ryan Beltran was supposed to be here, but it's storming so bad in Austin last night and this morning that he texted me earlier and said, I'd love to be here, but there is no way because it's flooding in Austin. And it started raining here, all right? But I wanted y'all to see 2 video clips, and I'll explain to you why I thought this would be important for you to see, okay? Can we try it? I don't know if I embedded him right or not. Can we go back? Okay. You want me to put the microphone by it? Can y'all hear this?
Not loud enough? And what I saw was that there's some potential to merge the two.
to connect those who face water issues every day with those who might have the solution, or to connect the students and educators who want to help with open innovations looking for their help. And Make Water is a series where we try to do just that.
¿Cuántas familias va a ayudar este?
750 familias va a coger este proyecto que tenemos acá.
It's reversible because current's going to flow through the water either way. You can either have current flowing in this way or out that way.
I have to translate. You speak so fast.
I thought you like.
Aquí hacemos reuniones cada mes.
Que no tiene la concesión ser beneficiario no de estos recursos.
God's gone to trouble the water.
Sending the video, sending. Stop it. Before we start watching other stuff. You know how YouTube is, it's never ending.
Right. And then there's one more.
Okay.
One more.
Clean water initiatives are happening all over the world. While larger companies are investing in ways to clean up polluted waters, 14-year-olds Matthew and Garrett are working on a smaller scale to help clean the water right here in the Concho Valley.
We can help people, and that's the real importance.
With samples from the Concho River, the homeschool students studied, tested, and conducted a science project of electrocoagulation and treatment of river water.
Our beginning was 291 colonies of E. coli in that sample. And then afterwards, after being coagulated for just 30 minutes, that level dropped down to 13.6. So there was a huge difference in E. coli after it had been coagulated.
Electrocoagulation is using electrical currents to coagulate or simply bind particles together in water to be filtered out.
There is a bit of a water problem. You know, there's a lot of developing nations that don't have access to clean water. So you can use this system, very cheap, very simple to set up, to electrocute water basically and be very easy to filter it out.
The idea sparked from Ryan Beltran, the founder of Elecqua, a water purifying company that uses a similar process. Matthew and Garrett started their project last year. The two traveled to Odessa for a regional science fair earlier this month and brought home the gold. And now they're heading to Los Angeles to compete in an international science fair.
It's crazy. It's really cool to be able just to go to a place far away to meet up with a bunch of people who are doing science fair projects from all over the world.
It's really important to me because a lot of science fair projects, you know, they're done to have a science fair project. But, you know, we're helping people help clean water.
Angelo State University and the STEAM Central Makerspace also help the teens with their project. Matthew and Garrett will compete against 1,700 students in May for the International Science Fair. For Your News Connection, I'm Deja Barrett.
All right. So why I wanted you to see that is you can do something today that actually not only has an impact in your own neighborhood, in your own community, but you also have an opportunity to develop a solution that could go global. And that's not a joke, all right? So you're not here just to spend a Saturday or Sunday. There's an opportunity that I'll talk about in just a few minutes to have an impact. What Ryan Beltran has done, and you want to, if you want to write down those sites, or you want to go to Elecqua, E-L-E-Q-U-A, E-L-E-Q-U-A, you can see all the stuff and maybe even come up with an idea from what he's done, okay? One of the things that, one of the technologies that's of great interest is to be able to get bad stuff out of water and do it more efficiently and effectively. Do it faster, less cost, okay? And one of the ways that he's figured out, which sounds kind of crazy, is that he puts an electric probe into the water, sends a shock into the water, and whatever is in there in the way of dirt or sediment or like this E. coli, all right, it actually kind of zaps it and it makes it easier to scoop it up and get rid of it, okay? Now, just for your purposes of Why do you not want E. coli? Anybody? It's bad, right? Okay. It was really bad over the past couple of weeks because billions of dollars of salad, bags of salad, whether it was at HEB or someplace else or Safeway or Randall's, you know that billions of dollars of salad, packaged salad, had to be taken off of grocery shelves, right? Because of E. coli, okay? Now, I'm not dogging on the next group, but how many people have eaten at Chipotle? Yes. Okay, so 2 years ago, Chipotle had an E. coli outbreak and had to shut down a lot of their stores, okay, their restaurants, because E. coli was in the water, all right? So what I'm trying to also explain to you is that this is real, it's ongoing, okay? Now, let me get going a little bit faster because you want to have me stop talking, okay? How many of you live in a place, a home, apartment, whatever it is? How many of you had your house or your home, wherever you were, or your school flooded by the storm? Raise your hand. Okay. Now that was by Hurricane Harvey, right? How many of you have had your house, your school flooded over the past 5 years? Okay. How many people know somebody who was flooded? All right. All right. How many of you have a mom or dad, combination, whatever it is, somebody that was not able to get to work because of the floods? Were you in a boat? Ah, the hell. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about why you're also here. Okay. So one of the things that AccelerateH2O, we're a 501c3. We're a nonprofit statewide organization that the former governor, a number of business leaders, a number of foundations asked us to form. It's a nonprofit that brings the best ideas from anywhere in the world, which includes y'all, best ideas in the world to solve real world problems, all right? And find ways to get investors and people who make decisions to buy products to do it faster and more effectively. During the hurricane, we quietly brought in units, small units, sometimes no bigger than this table, sometimes as big as this whole room, to find ways to generate water or clean up water when there was no electricity or no other way to get and generate water, all right? Now, so what I wanted you to know is that there is a global interest in resiliency now, and that a lot of people are looking to Houston to try to figure out what Houston learned and did and what they can learn from new technologies or new solutions. Am I making sense? The world really has come to Houston, all right? Now, one of the second things that's come up is how do you optimize knowledge? How do you optimize information? Okay, sad but true, most of the water systems that are near you, okay, the public water systems, kind of still operate on writing stuff down, okay, and looking things up like business cards and all. So one of the objectives that's underway in the city of Houston, the state of Texas, is to kind of think about maybe using more modern things like their cell phones and data and mapping and information and analytics, okay? So that's called optimization, all right? Here's a quote of one of the senior leaders that you know of, but I'm not going to tell you, but it's somebody who you see a lot on the news, okay? Optimization of system demands identifying every best practice, innovation, integrated source of information to ensure we have the most resilient facilities, equipment, and people. What they're trying to say, yes, ma'am. Talk just a little bit louder, I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, it's always purified because there's two standards. The EPA at the federal level, and in our version of the EPA in Texas called the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, requires all drinking water to have a certain standard for you to be able to drink from. Always, okay? Now, did I tell you that every water fountain is the cleanest water? No. Okay? All right, so let me keep on going real quick, all right? Now, you all know that it stormed here today, this morning. You know that there was a hurricane a year ago, okay? But one of the things that you may not be aware is most of the flooding that occurred over the past couple of years, y'all may have heard of the Halloween Day flood. Remember flooded 2 or 3 Halloweens ago? Something like that, okay? There's more floods and flooding that starts in Austin and San Antonio and makes its way down to Houston than comes off the Gulf of Mexico from hurricanes. Let me try that one more time. There are more storms that cause flooding to come from Austin down to Houston than in the way of hurricanes, all right? So what would that tell you? That if you're sitting in Houston, you would kind of want to know what? If it's flooding or storming in Austin, so that you can alert, right? So this again is a way to look at that you're not just sitting in isolation in Houston. What occurs in Austin or San Antonio does impact you here, all right? And this is an opportunity to think about where weather data, all right? How many of y'all have ever in the past 7 days looked at the Weather Channel? Weather Channel, weather.com, okay? Now, that's a lot of data, right? They're getting lots of data. That data is accessible to you, all of y'all here today. So if you want to take a look at real-time weather data and come up with an app or something, that's another opportunity. And we can also show you that Harris County has a lot of data. If you go to Harris County Flood Control District, you'll see that they also have a lot of data. By the way, a high school team in West Houston developed an app that Harris County Flood Control District is now using, okay? Now using. There is an interest by the Texas Department of Transportation on highways to work with high school, community college, 4-year institutions to find ways to maybe put a sensor on a highway to see how much water is flooding, okay? All right, so I'm gonna keep on going, I promise. All right, now, a couple of other quick ideas to think about, all right? During a flood, what can you not do, typically? Thank you. If you can't drive, it not only means you can't drive, but who else can't drive? First responders, people trying to deliver fuel, food, okay? That was one of the biggest issues that you really may not have heard about. But at one point, certain parts of the city started running out of fuel. And I'm not just talking for your car, I'm talking about for other operations, all right? By the way, unbeknownst to some of those, so if I was sitting in one part of Houston, okay, and I had no ability to get fuel delivered to me, the reality is that there is somebody who knew that just a mile away that there was fuel, but no one connected the two, all right? That's a reality of trying to find out what they call supply chain, so where's food, where's emergency help, okay? One thing that I've shared also with Ravi is, what's interesting about this group is, you join 10,000 other people in Houston who are still organized as the Get Stuff Done Network. Thank you, Mom. I did that right, okay? Called the Get Stuff Done Network. 10,000 people like y'all used phones, used other ways of communicating, of getting people rescued in boats, getting grandmothers their medicine, getting food to another part of their neighborhood, okay? more than any other government agency, you guys and 10,000 other people played that role, and that is now being recognized in some pretty significant ways, like the American Red Cross and foundations in the city of Houston are looking for you all to come up with a solution that they may be able to fund as a part of the next emergency preparedness. Okay? Last quick things, okay? I'm going to skip, okay? All right. So here are some things to think about, okay? What are companies, utilities, planners looking for? Okay? I'm trying to make this quick, okay? So I just want to throw some things out, okay, for you to look at, because your teams may have already come up with an idea, okay? So there's advanced modeling. There's real-time data collection. When we talked about the manhole cover, that's real-time data collection. But right now, in a lot of manhole covers, there's no way to collect the data. There's no sensors. There's nothing going to cellular systems, okay? There's geospatial, geolocational, artificial intelligence. How many? Y'all have heard about artificial intelligence? Okay, that's the new thing in water right now. Okay, is applying artificial intelligence to take lots of information and ideas. Okay, so there's a lot of ideas out there for you to consider because there really is a need for your ideas. And I got to tell you, it doesn't make a difference whether you're in a four-year college, a community college, or a high school. All right, now, last thing, Robbie. Hold on. I'm going. I promise. I promise. All right. So one of the things that our organization has done is we have set up a full-scale demonstration hub with the city of Houston, meaning every aspect of every part of the facilities and plant operations for the city of Houston we have access to. So what I wanted to announce for you all that some of the things that we're looking for, all right, are for ideas that you have that we can then take to the city of Houston and work with them and you and your teams on doing a demonstration, doing a pilot project with the city of Houston, okay? That's one opportunity coming out of what we're doing today, okay? Because there is over 7,000 miles of pipe in the city of Houston. And what happens sometimes with pipes? They break and they leak, right? That's a big issue. Breaks in your neighborhood, it breaks, near a business, all right? So I want to make sure you know that what you're working on today has these opportunities. The second opportunity is that there will be a first, second, and third place team selection by judges over the next 2 days, all right? Ravi will describe to you a little bit about what those awards, but we will announce the awards tomorrow evening, and then on October 17th at our annual investor forum that we'll do where we're bringing folks from around the world. We've got folks coming from Washington, D.C., from Spain, from literally around the world are going to be here, all right? And at that time, we will give the money, but also have the three teams do a short introduction of their project to investors, all right? So what I'm trying to tell you is this is real, okay? This isn't, it's fun. I want you to have fun, but I also want to put a little pressure on you that this is real, okay? This is an opportunity to develop something, okay? Now, here's the three challenges, okay? I know I finally got there, okay? So the question is how do we address real-time needs for families, communities, industry facing drought or flood, securing information, meaning cybersecurity, okay, or creating alternative sources during times of emergency? I want you to consider products and services integrated into unique solutions for preparedness in response to a water-related crisis. So if I don't have enough water, I got to find a way to generate the water. If I have too much water, I got to figure out how to prepare myself before. It could be a floodgate. It could be a different type of way of storing water or capturing water. I want to prevent somebody trying to access my water system as a terror threat and turning the system on or off or having a negative impact. All right. So here's the three things, and we probably need to find just a way to keep it up here. Okay. So first challenge is reuse of water and water supply. All right. We want you to find alternatives from wastewater to generate new water or additional benefits from products, okay? Byproducts, all right? So this includes also capturing water. Somebody said rainwater, all right? But you should know that in all of the wastewater, there are viable byproducts that could be used for fertilizer. There's mud, there's gravel. There's a lot of ways to reuse water and recycle water. So that's number one. Number two is filtration, okay? These are systems, these are filters, all right, that treat water to make it more drinkable, or what we call potable, okay? Drinkable water is what you consume. Potable water is what they use in manufacturing. Okay, so somebody said steel and, other kinds of making airplanes, all right? So there is a need to have the ability to filtrate water, and sometimes in a miniature system. And then the third one is smart water. This is application of data, sensors, Internet of Things across infrastructure, facilities, residents, and multifamily housing, all right? So what sits on top of a major high-rise building? What's at the very top of a high-rise building sometimes? A roof? Water towers? Okay. Air conditioning systems, right? They use a lot of water, okay? They can also leak, they can cause damage, okay? What happens around buildings? What typically is around the outside of a building? Landscaping, right? Waste a lot of water if we don't need to water a lawn that day, all right? So I want you to think about reuse, filtration, and smart water as three challenges. You can ask me a lot of questions. We've got mentors here. Ravi's smarter than I can. And then the last is that if you, on our websites, there's a lot of other sources of data and some ideas, okay? HoustonH2O.org, AccelerateH2O.org, and even on InvestH2O.com, all right? I just want you to have sources and information. I know this was long. I know you're tired of me talking, but has this kind of at least given you some idea that this is a huge opportunity for you all? Frankly, I don't care if you're number 4, 5, 6. I don't care what. You got an idea. We want to help you figure out how to take that idea to the market. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you. So that was great, right? Now you have your categories. You know what the challenge is. And what I wanted to do is, and thanks, Richard, for bringing me to this point. On the website, inventathon.us, if you scroll down, you're going to see faces and names. So I'm just going to scroll down, further down, and you've got mentors. So here's Richard's information. You can connect directly with him on LinkedIn, or go see the websites on his LinkedIn that's linking to the slides. But then here's the folks that will help you with problem solving. So all of this again is on the website, so you could also see it on your phones. But I have Roland Fields up there, number on the left-hand side, because he is the manager of that space back there. Roland has access to all the equipment. He's got some other folks who can help you with creating some sort of a product in those three categories, right? So Roland Fields out there. Then you've got some other folks who will be coming in on Sunday, and then some folks who are already here. So I think the folks that I see on this list is myself. I saw Christopher. Christopher is back there. Irene is here. So let me tell you, Irene's here. She's our sort of the legal expert. She can give you some insight around the legal side. If you've got an idea and you wonder, hey, is this is it protectable? Is it not? Is it something I want to talk about? Maybe she could give you some advice. And what I'm going to do is all the mentors will get a room. for you to go and talk to, and they'll have access to the computer, so if they want to present something to you, they can. So Irene's, that's on the list there. Kimberly Penn, I saw her, she's right there. So Kimberly Penn can also help you with pitching and ideation for ideas. Christopher is a computer science. Help me, it's digital gaming. Yeah, so 3D modeling. So we've got a classroom on this side. I forget the room number, but it's the only classroom with computers. We have the software. If you wanted to do a demo for any of the students to learn 3D modeling, maybe you want to create some sort of a simulation for Richard around reuse of water. The faculty member, he'll be here, so you can go meet with him. We've got artificial intelligence and machine learning. So you heard, things around AI. So we've got a group back there. They're called the Houston Robotics Club. There's about 7 guys and girls in there who can tell you about artificial intelligence, robotics, and you can bounce ideas like, I want to do this, or what do you think about this? So go alone or go with the team, and those guys are available to you in this hall. I'm not going to tell you the room numbers because I don't remember them, but also because I want you to go figure it out, right? I'm not going to handhold because you guys can figure it out. The other folks we have is Caroline. She's checked you in. She happens to also be a coder. She's a full stack coder, I understand. So that's a cool skill. So if some of you aspire, you could get her to kind of give you some advice in this space. Later in the day, Brenda Rios, the other director, I call her other director because she's my twin at Southeast Campus. She'll be here. Myself, a director for entrepreneurship and innovation at the college. So we're available. Sai is here. Edward or Ed is here. You can learn about these guys by just clicking on their profiles and see what they do. Sai is electrical engineer, Schlumberger, and also a principal. He's got some principal technologist. I love the title there. So here, and then one Jen is right there. So she's with Code Park. She could all help you with either assembling the robots, like Lego robots, or coding the robots, or any type of coding, I understand. She can help you Google stuff. I love it. So that's a great skill to have. And Shiroy just walked in. He's right in the center there. So Shiroy is co-founder of Impact Hub and then OneJump. So he could also tell you about funding and marketing and how do you price stuff if you wanted to create a service, how do you scale stuff, how do you get it out there. So all the judges are there. Neil Murthy will join us later. He's a faculty, entrepreneur faculty at U of H. And then we have more folks, Jordan Carswell, and I don't know if I missed anybody, but you get the idea. Oh, and Nalin will come in. He's a big oil and gas guy. So these guys are here for you. You'll have to track them down. You'll have to find them. And then ultimately, your goal today is just to brainstorm on things you want to create, things around the topics that Richard pointed out. I want to point out tomorrow for judges, we will have Jesse Bound with the City of Houston Innovation Office. So he'll be here, Dr. Frances Villa Van Glover. She's part of HCC, Associate Vice Chancellor for Student Success and Special Programs. Some of you may know her if you're an HCC student. Neil Dixon, who I happen to know as an entrepreneur, but now he's grown in this space and is doing a lot of work around data visualization, taking big data and then showing it nicely, making large sets of data available to the public with a group called January Advisors. Andrew Lynch with the Houston Maker Faire. So if you guys don't know about the Maker Faire, learn from him. It's an awesome initiative in our city. And then Lawson Gao, who's a Rice grad, recently started a co-working space called The Cannon, and he'll be here. So these guys are judges. I do have backup judges, but actually really what happened is the 3 at the top are backup judges to the 3 on the bottom. So Jeff Reichman couldn't be here, but he said, I'm going to put in Neil Dixon. Maya is on an emergency flight to Florida to take care of her mother's friend. So she's sending Dr. Glover, and then Anna Rojas, executive director of TI Houston, the guys that want to invest in you, they're kind of stepping in with Andrew with the Houston Maker Faire, right? But I think it's important for you to connect with these individuals, because as your careers grow, these are folks that can help you, right? And then obviously myself and Richard will also help you. All right, so I know you must all be wondering, and this wasn't on the website till last night. First place, second place, third place, we'll give you guys some cash. $500 for the top prize. Top score, sorry, not a price. Top score tomorrow. $300 for second place, and then $200 for first place. A total of $1,000, unrestricted cash, thanks to our friends at InvestH2O, and then and Carollo Engineering. You could use this cash to buy yourself a laptop, or this gets divided into your teams. So the teams could all go out and have nice lunch, or maybe gather the money and start use it for as a seed into your venture, your company. The other question you may have is how do you coordinate with everybody here? Under info, there are the rules which I talked about earlier. I'm not going to go into it. I can show you the page, but the other way is, it's not there, /chat. If you type in inventathon.us/chat, there's a little chat room set up there. You can get a free account. You use your Facebook or Google. You can get on there and chat. If you spam, you'll get kicked off. But I'm the only one there right now because I just announced it. But you could be there, and then this is where I'll use announcements, right? If there's, hey, the halal guy's food is here. So everybody go to the kitchen. The kitchen area is back in that side of the room. So encourage you to either download the app or turn on the audio in the app. So when we send a notification, you know that we want you in a particular area. And then I want to show you why all this matters. So I'm going to forward to why I like to do these events, which is really whatever projects you create in this training session, you can take them to the Houston Maker Faire for up to $3,000 of unrestricted cash to build your ideas, to really double dip. And we've had, last semester, Skyprint, they won here. Some of you may know them. Remember Skyprint? Yeah? They won here. They took the $500. But then they also came back and competed in the ideas pitch competition and took the $1,000 prize, the top prize, and double dipped on the same idea because it mattered. It was really that great of an idea. So as you're developing your ideas here, you'll be introduced to investors at this investor forum. You'll be given access to the ideas pitch competition in front of the makers. And then, like I said, my goal really is to help you, whatever ideas you have, give you a platform to launch them off. Okay? So if there are no more questions, I'm going to turn the music back on. And then I'm going to let you guys go say hi to your mentors, and then go find yourself a room that you want to be in. And like I said, if the room is locked, you can't go in it. If it's unlocked, you're welcome to go into and use it. And then just don't leave the building. And one other thing about parking. I see a lot of cars up here. If you parked your cars in the around area, there are tons of parking spaces on this side of the building. And there's a walkway. So move your car before police gets mad at us and they move it for us. So move your car, and then you can walk in from this side of the wing. Yes, sir. Yes. Hold on. What's the question? All right. So on 3, 2, 1, inventing starts now. We're 20 minutes late. It's all right. We'll get the music back on.